Gimmeabreakman, give him a break because he sure deserves one. And when he's back from his break, you'll see his parts made in Japan. He is the modern man, so give him a break.
Hello there, Mords. It's Victor, Gimmeabreakman, and I'm using my new GoPro 7 to walk around. It's cold as hell today. I don't know if you can tell. This is going to be a little bit of a discussion video. That's maybe and a response to Yuta. What's his name? That man in Japan? Your man in Japan? I'm sorry, I forgot exactly. But he's quite famous, I'm sure you guys know. Except I know him, so I kind of forget his YouTube name. I've been to quite a few times. He's a very nice guy, very supportive. And I also follow him on Twitter, and today I'm going to do a response to that in a second. First, I want to just point out a couple things. It is tax time of the year, so a lot of us foreigners living in Japan have to worry about our gensen, what's it called? Chou, shuu, hyou, right? I think I got that right. Ohayou gozaimasu. Oh, there's some construction up here, which is basically you have to get your tax withholding forms from any companies that you work with or work for. In my case, my own company. But I also do outside work for other companies. I'm a teacher, and my company sends me to them, and they give me one of these papers as well. Anyway, one thing. The other word I thought would be interesting to pick up for you today is a funny word, meyani, which is basically eye boogers. You can also say mekuso, which literally means eye shit. Hanakuso would be boogers or nose shit. Anyway, and recently my whole family has been come down with, well, you know, there's a cedar allergies or sugi allergies recently, and I didn't have, this will happen to a lot of you if you stay here. When you come to Japan, when I came to Japan, I had no problem at all with allergies, nothing at all for years, and I always wondered why do Japanese people always get allergies. But after about 15 years or 10 years, I forget when, I started getting them. And I heard it happened, but I didn't believe it. You know, you want to think yourself above that human stuff. But anyway, I started getting them. And this year, like a few years ago was bad, like four or 5 years ago. And I thought, oh, just one time. Came again this year, woke up, eyes caked shut. Kids also had slight cases of it. But for them, they didn't have the redness of the eyes. They would just wipe away the meyani and they'd be fine. Anyway, so there you go. If you plan to stay here in Japan a long time, you may have to deal with these allergies. And for me, it affected like everything: a runny nose and eyes, and some of my students have it too. Of course, they said that they get sore throats from it because of the mucus running down their throat. I don't know why this would happen. Would aggravate their would aggravate their throats, and that happened a little bit to me. But anyway, went to the eye doctor, gave me eye drops. Nothing you can really do about it, just wait it out. Still got a little bit of residual left over, so that's what you might see. So I want to talk about a tweet that Yuta wrote today, and about nationality in general, because I think it's an important, relative. It's an interesting topic. By the way, it's cold as hell. Got my gloves on. Oh, by the way, I've been doing danshari slowly, the Marie Kondo thing. What's the name? Kondo Marie. By the way, not that popular among housewives in Japan. They don't care about her. It's kind of funny. I've actually tried talking about her, teaching her in class, and like, we don't care about her. No, we don't care. Forget about her. So, oh no, I just lost it. I just had it. Let me see. Let's finally get it. Yuta, that's Yuta. So he wrote about Japanese cars and about pride that he felt. And I thought that was kind of interesting. To be honest, a little bit sad. So this is what he wrote, literally. This is a quote. As a Japanese person, I feel contented when the majority of the cars I see in the streets are Japanese in a foreign country. That's how things should be, smiley face. Or a colon and a D. I guess that's smiley face, right? A different kind of smiley face. I don't know if there's a difference between smiley faces. So this, first of all, this is not an attack. This is not an attempt at drama or any bullshit. It's just a conversation. When YouTube first started and I was here, a little bit after when YouTube first started. Second generation YouTuber, I like to call myself. But the reason I got into YouTube is I wanted to have conversations with people making videos on YouTube. And you know, I wanted to, when someone put out an idea on video, I wanted to respond to it. In the old days they had responses, so I wanted to respond. So this is a response to a tweet that he wrote, and not just him, but this, because it's a common, it's not, Yuta is not guilty, I don't know if that's the right word, but guilty of this feeling, of having this feeling of pride, national pride, which I've never quite, well, no, I understand, but I don't share. I do share it, but I'm not proud of sharing it. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm guilty of it too, but I think I would never have written such a tweet, I think. So let me explain a little bit. First of all, just a little bit about my background. I was born in Peru, spent 1 year there. My sisters were born in America, and I was raised American. I speak Spanish. Sí, hablo un poco de español todavía. I still speak a little bit of Spanish. Y entiendo todo, and I understand everything, but I'm rusty, you know, when I speak Japanese. I mean, when I speak Spanish, the Japanese comes out. Anyway, I'm raised basically American. I went to a white school, basically. We had maybe 2 or 3 black kids and 2 or 3 Hispanics, and everyone else was white. And no one treated me differently. And a lot of you on the internet will say, well, you are white, Vic, you're white, you're white. A lot of people argue that, but back in the States, depending on what part of the country I was in, I was often assumed to be either Mexican, Cuban, or Puerto Rican, depending on where I was. Of course, Florida, Cuban, Texas or the West, Mexican. Oh, I'm sorry, one more. Northeast, Seattle, I was American Indian. I've been mistaken for American Indian. Of course, those days I had long hair, shoulder length right here. And of course, New York City, I'm Puerto Rican. But the point is, I've always been asked, where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? So maybe that helped contribute to this feeling, but I've always been slightly annoyed by that question because, you know, I've always considered myself American. So growing up as a teenager, the white kids in my school never made me really feel too conscious of my Latino appearance. But depending on where I moved, people just assumed I was something else. You got to put the net on there or the crows and the cats will rip it to shreds. Anyway, I'm gonna bring you guys to my favorite little tiny street in this neighborhood. That's the background. Now, I did grow up being very America #1 kind of guy and mentality, you know. But I've also, when I was 17 or 18 years old, 19, I forget. Anyway, doesn't matter. I spent 10 months backpacking across Central America, Central America and South America. Went back to school, finished university, then came back and did another 6 months, and then I came to Japan. And I've lived in Japan most of my life now, officially, which is a weird thing to say. Yeah. And you know, you get a different perspective living in another country, of your own country, and you realize, you know, there's some bizarre shit that happens. For example, 9/11, you know, when that happened, I was with a bunch of foreigners and one Korean girl who in the middle of the chaos, you know, where everyone's staring at the TV, shocked out of their brains, she says, well, you know, America deserved it. And I guess maybe that's one of the times that I realized, yeah, maybe she's right. I mean, not that we deserved it, but maybe America's image, yeah, I guess that, not that we deserved it, of course we didn't deserve it, but America's image abroad is not what Americans think it is, right? We are not the heroes that everyone thinks it is. Now, this is my favorite little street. Let me just show you this tiny little street, which cars, of course, cannot go down, but people do live on. And we have a little statue that mysteriously appeared on this street a few months ago. We call her Kalato, and it's a goddess. See, I think it's God's statue. I believe that's God down there. I don't know, maybe it's an old kanji. Looks like Moshi, but Moshi-ten. Anyway, every time we pass it, we say Kalato. And right behind it says F-U-me. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's a person who lives there. Okay, so pride about America. I guess I started realizing that people don't see this country the way we see it. I mean, as an American, people don't really see America as #1. the way Americans see it. So we are more imperialistic. And I actually, even just like a year or two ago, I was reading an article about the ISIS fighters and the people in the Middle East who are against America. And you know who they see themselves as? They see themselves as the rebel fighters in Star Wars, and America is the evil empire. So I guess in this scenario, Trump would be Darth Vader. You know, and Vice President Pence would be Darth Maul or something. You know, anyway, the whole round table of bad guys. Some of you Star Wars nerds can fill in the blanks. I enjoy Star Wars, but I'm not that up on the vocabulary. Anyway, so yeah, that's my. I started realizing that. Yeah, America isn't, you know, number one. It isn't the peaceful, great nation that I thought it was growing up, or I was brainwashed to be. And really, and at the end of the day, that's what it is. We're all brainwashed to see certain things in certain ways. And I can't remember the guy's name now, but there's a great YouTuber who just put out a thought about that recently, about racial sexual education, so to speak. You're basically trained to like certain sexual, you know, you're basically trained to like certain types of women, right? So if you're in Japan, you're more into a thin woman, and boobs and butt are not that important to you. But if you're in Brazil, you're raised to find that attractive, right? Anyway, I recently ran into the secretary for my old, oh, it's getting really noisy there. The way to avoid this, I'm going to speak up. I recently ran into the secretary for my first English school 7 or 8 years ago. And I'll just speak up. And he, I remember him saying, first thing he said, one of the first things he said to me that stuck in my mind was, "You Americans like big boobs and big butts. And we Japanese like pencil body. I like women like a pencil." And then he introduced me to his wife, and she was nothing like a pencil. She was like huge. So I thought, whoa, I don't know what happened there. Like maybe he changed, or maybe he just loved her for her personality, or maybe she was thin when they got married. Who knows? Anyway, so we are brainwashed for our country. One thing about the Japanese that many people will agree is that they generally have a group mentality when it comes to certain things, and they are very quietly nationalistic. When a Japanese person does something abroad that's great, that makes the whole country look great, they're really proud of it, generally speaking. An example of that would be Naomi Osaka, who's half Japanese and half black. But now that she's doing well, the Japanese love her, and she's getting all these endorsements, which is great, but at the same time, mysterious, because it's not consistent. Like Marie Kondo. Oh, here's another tiny street. Let's go down this little tiny street just to blow a little time. But Marie Kondo, who, yeah, you know, is the phenomenon in America, is not that popular. And actually, you know what they tell me? They told me she ripped off another woman named Noriko Kondo, whose husband moves people. I guess he's got a moving company or something, and she got into the same kind of work, you know, tidying up people's houses years ago. So for Japanese, what Marie Kondo is teaching is basically old news. Like, we know all that. That's not impressive, you know. It's a huge yard for a Japanese. She says, we're not that impressed. That's nothing. That's nothing. So I don't understand why they're not proud of Marie Kondo making it big in the States. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, who knows? Oh, you know what they don't like? Her personality. She's too coquettish. She's like too cute. It's kind of annoying for a housewife. It would be good if you were a young girl, but you know, she's got 2 kids. She shouldn't be acting that way. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I get, but I don't know. It's too bad. There's a lot of good English to be learned in there, like clutter and declutter, things like that I teach in classes. Messy, what a clutter. This is cluttered. Okay, back to the video. Anyway, so it bothers me a little bit, and I'm a little disappointed, to be honest, because I find Yuta to be one of the most intelligent and internationally savvy people on Twitter or on YouTube. He's a smart guy. He's a nice guy, and again, this is not a poke at him, but this is the discussion. I'm hoping to reach out to him, just give my thoughts But you know, he's also a lot younger than me, so often when he posts something on Twitter, I'm often like, yeah, atarimae da. I mean, that's kind of common sense, man. You know, I'm 50 ish. So I guess, you know, and I'm not, and I've always said this to my students. It's not that I'm a smart teacher, it's just I'm an experienced teacher. I've had a lot of experience, so a lot of things that he says in his Twitter feed I find to be, yeah, I've kind of had that thought, you know, those conversations like years ago back in college and stuff, which is basically, you know, what he is. So he's a young guy who's intelligent, who's making acute observations of the world. But I've had, you know, most of those observations already, so I just don't find them worth sharing anymore. But the one thing that does bother me, and that is not age related, is his love of his pride of being Japanese. And that post that he wrote, God, my hands are freezing. Just a second. Which, let me see if I can bring it up again. Which is, when I as a Japanese person, I feel contented. Sounds funny in my mouth today. When the majority of the cars I see in the streets are Japanese in a foreign country. That's how things should be. Then no, it shouldn't be that way. To be honest, it shouldn't be that way at all. You know what? The majority of cars in every country should be made in that country. That's the way things should be. I mean, it's good for Japan, but that's not the way things should be. And here's the weird thing. If you feel pride about Japan's wonderful products, I mean, I'm super pro, except this tripod is Manfrotto, Italian, I think it's Italian. Manfrotto, very good little tripods. Japanese do great all over the world, and most of the products, Canon and Sony top cameras right now. Lumix also, I use a Lumix. Anyway, we can go on and on. Japanese products are great, okay? But if you feel pride about Japanese products, shouldn't you also feel shame? I mean, shouldn't it go both ways? Now, I've always argued, no, you are not responsible for, Japanese should not feel shame for what happened during World War II, or Nanking, or the comfort women. You personally, Japanese people watching this video now, no, I do not think you should feel that way. But at the same time, unless you work at Toyota, I think it's kind of silly. I mean, I don't understand that. You didn't do anything. Just like America's like, we did this, we did that. No, you didn't. You just were born in a country that happened to have people in it who did that. So Americans have the same problem. Oh, America number one, we did this. We led the world in this and that. Like that Steve King guy, I think his name is Stephen King. Steve King, the politician who supports white power, who says we cannot replace our country with other nations' babies. And he says the whites, the Christians and the Europeans have contributed more to the world than anyone else. I mean, I guess we broke it down. Maybe he might have an argument, but he personally should not feel any pride. He didn't do anything. He was just born in that country, and he happened to be born white. And going back to Yuta's specific comment about cars, if in 2010 Toyota, and you can look this up, was found to be responsible for 89 deaths, excuse me, it's called 89 deaths due to their products, you know. I mean, Toyota fucked up. They killed a lot of people. 89 people is a lot of people. Those 89 people are dead forever. So, do you feel guilty because of that, Yuta? I don't think you should. But at the same time, unless you work at Toyota, which I doubt, pretty sure you don't. I find it strange that you think that. You find pride in that. And anyone, Americans too. So I guess my question with this video is, why do you think feeling proud, doesn't work, because of something your country did, is that logical? And by the same token, shouldn't you feel shame by the bad things Americans did? Like, come on, America's government did horrible things. We experimented on, we sterilized people with Down syndrome. We experimented on, I believe, Guatemalans and venereal diseases. And we did horrible things. So, yeah, I would argue that that's a pretty hypocritical slope to climb, but argument to make. I mean, I'm mixing up my idioms. It's cold. Yeah. So I don't know. Am I the grumpy old man who says, "Get off my lawn, you kids"? Or don't I have a point here? Isn't it silly to feel proud because of something that your country did that you had nothing to do with personally? I find myself more of an international person now, and I don't mean that as a, I don't mean to say that, I don't say that with pride. I don't say that, you know, gloating or saying, oh, I'm above you. No. I just think I don't feel the pride. I'm certainly not proud of America. I am, like I've said before, I'm grateful to be American because of the opportunities that America has given me and my family. And the visa lets me travel pretty much everywhere. But I really have no right to feel proud for anything, especially recently America has done. And what did I do? Personally, nothing. The only thing I can really be proud of is when I teach someone and they pass a test, or I help someone, or my own actions individually. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Of course, I don't expect Yuta to make a video about this, because this is the kind of video he does. But I think it's an interesting argument. And I do hope to see Yuta, if you got to the end of the video, I do hope to see you at the Hanami this year. It's March 30th. Remember, this is not an attack. This is just you know, publicly disagreeing with you about something that you said in a tweet, which, you know, maybe if you think about it a little bit more, maybe you'd agree with me. I don't know. That's the problem with YouTube, is that you can't go back and forth, which is really how discussions are. Like if we're sitting in a bar talking, you might be able to say, oh, you have a point there. Maybe you make a point that I would be able to agree with as well. So I make this video with that spirit in mind. And anyway, I hope everyone's having a great day. It is a beautiful day finally. And in 2 days I will be in Guam. Yay, with my family, which is a combination of going to heaven with with 2 children, which is probably hell, is equally hell, even if you went to heaven. Okay, I gotta go buy the tickets for the train and do that now. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. If you got this far, I don't know, feel free to ask me anything about anything you saw on the video, or whether you agree or disagree. See you later. Bye, Schmuck.
Give me a break, man, give him a break, because he sure deserves one. And when he's back from his break, you'll see his parts made in Japan.